Ladies and gentlemen, there is a silent power in mystery. In a world where everyone is eager to announce their next move, there is strength in silence. Too often we rush to share our dreams, our struggles, our plans, believing that in speaking them, we bring them to life. But sometimes, the more you speak, the weaker your dreams become. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world that thrives on noise, where everyone is eager to share their thoughts, plans, and ambitions, we rarely recognize the power of keeping things to ourselves. But silence is not weakness. It is not hesitation. It is not a lack of confidence. Silence is strength. It is wisdom. It is a force that few truly understand, yet those who do wield it with incredible power. When we share too much too soon, we invite opinions, doubts, and expectations that may not align with our vision. The moment you voice your plans, you expose them to the world's scrutiny. And in that exposure, something shifts. What was once a pure, deeply personal ambition suddenly becomes something people feel entitled to discuss, judge, or even diminish. Some will question your ability. Some will offer unsolicited advice. Some will intentionally or unintentionally plant seeds of doubt in your mind. There is a reason why some of the most successful people in the world operate in silence. They don't feel the need to prove themselves with words. They don't announce every step of their journey. They work diligently in the background, refining their craft, strengthening their mindset, and preparing for the moment when their actions will speak for them. The truth is, when you talk too much about what you are going to do, you release some of the energy needed to actually do it. The excitement of sharing your plans can sometimes trick your mind into believing you've already accomplished something, when in reality, you haven't even begun. Silence allows you to focus. It eliminates distractions. It keeps your energy contained so that when the time comes to execute, you do so with clarity and purpose. Think of it like a flame. When it is protected, it burns steadily, growing stronger. But if exposed to the wind too soon, it flickers, weakens, and may even die out before it has a chance to fully ignite. Your dreams, your plans, and your ambitions deserve that same level of protection. There is also an undeniable mystery in silence. When people don't know your next move, they cannot interfere with it. They cannot predict your steps or place obstacles in your way. They cannot take credit for your success or sabotage it before it begins. The less people know, the more they wonder. The more they wonder, the more they watch. And when the time comes, they will see the results of your hard work. Not because you told them, but because you showed them. We live in an era where validation is sought through likes, comments, and applause. But true fulfillment does not come from external approval. It comes from internal alignment. It comes from knowing that you are walking a path that is meant for you without needing constant reassurance from the outside world. When you embrace silence, you learn to trust yourself. You develop an unshakable belief in your abilities because you're no longer dependent on others to confirm your worth. The most beautiful transformations happen in solitude. The strongest individuals are not those who constantly seek attention, but those who silently build their empire, brick by brick, without needing anyone to acknowledge each step. Silence allows you to create without interruption, to dream without limitation, and to grow without unnecessary resistance. It is a shield against the negativity that often comes with exposure. It is a space where ideas flourish, unhindered by fear or doubt. There will be moments when you feel the urge to share your progress, to seek encouragement, or to prove to others that you are moving forward. But pause and ask yourself, do you need validation or do you need results? Because validation fades, but results speak for themselves. Let your journey be yours. Let your work be sacred. Let your silence be the foundation upon which you build something extraordinary. Not everyone will support or understand your dreams, and that is one of the hardest truths to accept. When you have a vision, a goal, or a desire to create something meaningful, it is natural to want to share it with those around you. You expect encouragement, validation, and support, But more often than not, what you receive is skepticism, indifference, or even resistance. This is not because your dreams are not valuable, but because people can only see the world through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences, limitations, and fears. People do not reject your dreams because they are impossible. They reject them because they cannot imagine themselves doing what you are setting out to do. They measure your potential by their own insecurities. They weigh your ambitions against their own fears. And sometimes it is not even intentional. It is simply a reflection of what they have been conditioned to believe. Many have been taught that life is about playing it safe, about following a path that guarantees stability, about not taking risks that could lead to failure. So when you speak of your dreams, especially if they challenge the norm, you are met with hesitation, not because they do not want you to succeed, but because they do not know how to think beyond the limits they have placed on themselves. There will be people who love you, yet still discourage you. They do not do it out of malice, but out of their own fears. They project their anxieties onto you, believing that they are protecting you from disappointment. They will tell you to be realistic, to have a backup plan, to not aim too high. They think they are keeping you safe, but in reality, they are keeping you small. If you listen too closely to their doubts, you will start to believe them. You will begin to question whether you are capable, whether your dreams are worth pursuing, whether you are being foolish for wanting something more. And before you know it, your own mind becomes the barrier between you and the life you were meant to live. Then there are those who do not want you to succeed because your success would remind them of what they never had the courage to chase. There are people who will feel threatened by your ambition because it exposes their lack of effort. Your determination will make them uncomfortable because deep down, they know they settled. They will try to minimize your goals, not because they are unattainable, but because seeing you rise forces them to confront the fact that they never tried. Instead of being inspired by you, they will look for ways to pull you down, to make you doubt yourself, to convince you that what you are trying to achieve is not worth it. Some people will misunderstand your journey simply because it is not their journey to understand. They have never walked your path, felt your hunger, or seen the world through your eyes. They do not know what fuels you, what drives you, or why your dream matters so much to you. And that is okay. It is not their responsibility to understand. It is not your job to convince them. Your dream was given to you for a reason. And not everyone needs to believe in it for it to become real. The only person who truly needs to understand it is you. You do not need approval, you do not need permission, you do not need everyone to see your vision clearly. What you need is resilience. What you need is the ability to move forward even when no one claps for you, even when no one believes in you, even when you feel like you are walking alone. Because the truth is, many of the greatest things ever achieved were once considered impossible. Every invention, every breakthrough, every extraordinary accomplishment was first met with doubt before it was met with applause. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, not luck, and not external validation. It is the ability to keep going despite the lack of understanding from others. When you chase something bigger than yourself, you will lose people along the way. Some will drift away because they no longer resonate with the person you are becoming. Some will distance themselves because they cannot handle the discomfort of seeing you grow. Some will turn against you because your journey no longer aligns with their expectations of you, but that is part of the process. Growth requires shedding old layers, old relationships, and old mindsets that no longer serve you. It requires trusting yourself even when no one else does. It requires knowing that the path to something great is often walked alone before it is recognized by the world. Dreams are fragile and they need protection. When you have a vision for your life, it is like planting a small seed. In the beginning, it is delicate, vulnerable, and easily influenced by the environment around it. If you expose it too soon, before its roots have had time to grow strong, it can be damaged by doubt, negativity, or even the expectations of others. That is why dreams must be nurtured in silence, guarded from external forces that can shake your confidence or make you question your own path. The moment you share your dreams with others, you open the door to their opinions. Some may be supportive, but many will not understand. They will judge your dreams based on their own fears, their own limitations, their own experiences. They may tell you that what you want is unrealistic, too difficult, or not worth pursuing. Not because they know what is best for you, but because they cannot see beyond the boundaries they have set for themselves. They will project their own doubts onto you, and if you are not careful, those doubts will take root in your mind, making you second-guess yourself before you have even started. Negativity is powerful. Even a single word of discouragement can plant uncertainty in your heart. When you tell someone about your dream and they dismiss it, even subtly, it can cause you to hesitate. You begin to wonder if they are right. You start questioning whether you are capable. You analyze every challenge before you have even faced it. And that fear can paralyze you. This is why so many dreams never make it past the idea stage, because they are exposed too soon, before they have had a chance to develop strength and resilience. There is also an unseen pressure that comes with sharing your dreams. The moment you speak them out loud, people begin to expect results. They start measuring your progress, asking questions, and forming opinions on whether or not you are succeeding. This external pressure can create unnecessary stress, making you feel like you have to prove something before you are ready. It can take the joy out of the journey and replace it with anxiety. Instead of focusing on growth, learning, and perseverance, you begin focusing on validation, approval, and external recognition. But dreams do not thrive under pressure. They grow in spaces of quiet determination, where the only expectation comes from within. It is important to remember that not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Some people will pretend to support you but secretly hope for your failure. Others may unintentionally discourage you because they do not want to see you change. Growth makes people uncomfortable. When you begin to chase something bigger than yourself, it can remind others of their own unfulfilled dreams, their own missed opportunities, their own choices to stay in comfort rather than step into the unknown. Instead of celebrating your courage, they may try to hold you back so that they do not have to face their own regrets. Protecting your dreams does not mean never sharing them. It means being selective about who you allow into your vision. It means choosing to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who encourage you, and who genuinely want to see you succeed. But even then, it is important to remember that the real strength of your dream comes from within you, not from external approval. You do not need permission to chase what sets your soul on fire. You do not need applause to keep moving forward. You need discipline, focus, and the ability to trust yourself even when no one else does. The early stages of a dream are sacred. They require patience, care, and time to grow. Just as a plant needs to develop strong roots before it can withstand the wind, your dreams need to develop resilience before they can survive the challenges that come with pursuing something great. If you expose them too soon, they become vulnerable to forces that can weaken them before they have even had a chance to bloom. That is why the most powerful thing you can do for your dreams is to protect them, nurture them, and allow them to grow in their own time. Work in silence. Let your success be your voice. In a world that encourages constant sharing, where people feel the need to announce every step of their journey, there is immense strength in choosing to remain quiet. There is power in withholding your plans, your struggles, and your progress until the time is right. Silence does not mean inaction. It does not mean hesitation. It means focusing on the work itself, rather than the validation that comes from talking about it. It means allowing your results to speak louder than any words ever could. The temptation to share your goals and ambitions is strong. When you talk about what you are working on, it feels real. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, even before you have taken meaningful steps toward it. But that feeling is deceptive. Speaking about your goals can trick your mind into believing that you have already done something significant, when in reality nothing has changed. The more you talk, the less energy you have left for action. The excitement of sharing can replace the discipline of doing, and before you realize it, you are caught in a cycle of words rather than results. When you keep your work private, you remove unnecessary pressure. You eliminate the expectations of others, the unsolicited opinions, and the weight of proving yourself before you are ready. You give yourself the space to make mistakes without judgment, to experiment without scrutiny, and to grow without the burden of outside voices influencing your decisions. The process of achieving something great is often filled with challenges, failures, and moments of doubt. When too many people are watching, those challenges feel heavier. The fear of embarrassment, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of being criticized can all slow you down. But when you work in silence, the only person you have to answer to is yourself. There is also a psychological advantage to keeping your progress to yourself. When no one knows your next move, they cannot interfere with it, they cannot discourage you, they cannot sabotage you, and they cannot set expectations that distract you from your path. The less people know, the more you stay in control of your journey. You do not have to defend your choices, explain your setbacks, or justify why you are doing things the way you are. You move in your own time, at your own pace, without unnecessary interference. People often seek validation through talking about their goals. They want to be acknowledged, supported, and encouraged. But true success does not come from validation. It comes from persistence, consistency, and discipline. It comes from the work that is done in private long before anyone else sees the results. The greatest artists, athletes, and leaders do not spend their time talking about what they are going to do. They spend their time doing it. Their success is not built on words, but on the quiet, unseen hours of effort that no one applauds. There is a moment when your success will become undeniable, when the results of your hard work will be impossible to ignore. When people will see what you have built, what you have achieved, what you have become, not because you told them, but because they cannot help but notice. That moment comes not from constant announcements, but from silent, relentless dedication. It comes from waking up every day and putting in the work, even when no one is watching. It comes from trusting the process, even when there is no immediate reward. The loudest people are not always the most successful. The ones who boast, who seek attention, who constantly try to prove themselves, often do so out of insecurity. They need the world to believe in them because they do not yet fully believe in themselves. But those who are truly confident in their vision, in their abilities, in their purpose, they do not need to announce it. They trust that the work itself will be enough. They understand that success is not about being seen, but about becoming someone worth noticing. The world does not need to hear about your dreams before they are realized. It does not need to know every step of your progress. What it needs is to see the results, to witness the transformation, to experience the impact of what you have created. And that only happens when you choose to stay silent, to focus on the work, and to let your success be the only voice that truly matters. Energy is precious, and where you direct it determines the outcome of your life. Every thought, every word, and every action carries energy. When you speak about your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions too soon, you are releasing energy that could have been used to bring them to life. Words have power, but action has even more. The more you talk, the more you give away pieces of that energy, scattering it in places where it is not always valued or understood. Keeping your energy contained allows it to build, to grow stronger, and to be used where it truly matters. Toward making things happen, there is something sacred about protecting your dreams and your efforts from unnecessary exposure. When you tell people what you are working on, you invite their energy into your process. Some may genuinely support you, but others may not. Their doubts, their skepticism, and their limitations can subtly infiltrate your mind. Even when they do not intend to discourage you, their words can plant small seeds of hesitation, and hesitation is dangerous. It creates gaps in your focus, slows down your momentum, and makes you question whether you are on the right path. But when you keep your plans to yourself, you remain in control of your energy. You do not allow external forces to interfere with the clarity of your vision. People react to your energy in different ways. Some will be inspired by your ambition, but others will feel threatened by it. Not everyone wants to see you succeed, not because they dislike you, but because your success reminds them of their own stagnation. It forces them to confront their own choices, their own fears, their own failures. Some people prefer things to stay the same. They prefer you to remain predictable, to fit within the version of you that they are comfortable with. When you start growing, changing, and evolving, it disrupts their perception of you. And rather than adapting to your growth, they may try to pull you back, not always out of malice, but out of their own discomfort. That is why protecting your energy is not just about avoiding negativity. It is about preserving your momentum. Every time you explain yourself to someone who does not understand your vision, you are wasting energy that could have been used to refine your craft. Every time you seek approval from those who do not share your mindset, you are giving away energy that should have been used to fuel your own belief. Every time you allow outside opinions to dictate your confidence, you are letting go of the energy that was meant to drive you forward. There is a discipline in learning to conserve your energy for what truly matters. It requires self-awareness, patience, and the ability to resist the urge to prove yourself before you have even arrived. Society teaches us to announce our goals, to share our progress, to seek validation at every step, but true mastery, true success, true fulfillment comes from the ability to work in silence, to let your energy remain focused, to channel it into creation rather than conversation. When you are deeply committed to something, you do not have time to explain it to everyone. You do not have the energy to waste on convincing people of your potential. You simply do the work and let the results speak for themselves. Energy moves where attention flows. When you talk about your plans too much, you shift your attention from execution to expectation. You begin to focus on how others perceive your journey rather than on the journey itself. You start adjusting your path based on external feedback rather than your own inner guidance, and slowly, without realizing it, you lose the purity of your vision. You become more concerned with being understood than with actually achieving what you set out to do. But when you keep your energy contained, you stay centered, you stay aligned with your purpose, you stay connected to the reason you started in the first place. There is an unspoken strength in quiet dedication, the kind of strength that does not seek recognition, that does not need applause, that does not require external confirmation. It is the strength of those who understand that energy, once wasted, cannot be reclaimed. The strength of those who know that success is not about how many people believe in you, but about how deeply you believe in yourself. The strength of those who trust that when the time is right, their work will be undeniable, not because they talked about it, but because they poured every ounce of their energy into making it real. Mystery holds power. When people cannot predict your next move, they cannot control your direction. The world thrives on information, on knowing, on keeping track of every step people take. But there is something rare and valuable about a person who moves quietly, who does not reveal everything, who keeps a part of themselves reserved. When you are unpredictable, you hold an advantage. You are not limited by the expectations of others. You are not confined by their assumptions. You remain free to shape your own path without interference, without unnecessary pressure, without external noise distracting you from your mission. The moment you share everything about yourself, your plans, your strategies, your aspirations, you give others access to your mind. Not everyone will use that access with good intentions. Some will try to support you, but others may try to manipulate, sabotage, or compete with you. The more predictable you are, the easier it is for people to influence your path. But when you keep your moves private, You leave no room for interference. No one can alter what they do not know. No one can block a plan they have never seen coming. No one can prepare for what they cannot anticipate. There is a reason why the most powerful individuals in the world do not announce their every step. They understand that true strength is found in restraint. It is not about hiding. It is about being intentional with what you reveal and when. People often assume that being open, transparent, and constantly updating others on their journey is a sign of confidence. But true confidence does not need validation. It does not need reassurance. It does not seek approval before taking action. The strongest people move with quiet certainty. They do not explain themselves at every turn. They do not seek permission to evolve. They simply move, and the world eventually takes notice. When you withhold information, you maintain control, not only over your actions, but over how people perceive you. The less people know about your next move, the less they can form opinions about it. The less they can prepare to criticize, discourage, or question you. In a world where everyone shares too much, being selective with your words is a form of discipline. It is a way of protecting yourself from unnecessary distractions. Every time you speak, you invite reactions. And not every reaction serves you. Not every opinion is worth considering. Not every piece of advice aligns with your journey. Silence creates curiosity. When people do not know what you are thinking, they start to wonder. They pay more attention. They respect you more. Because they see that you are not easily influenced, that you do not feel the need to prove yourself constantly. There is something compelling about a person who moves without seeking validation, who trusts their own instincts enough to act without needing to announce it. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you reveal less, what you do reveal becomes more powerful. Unpredictability also protects you from unnecessary expectations. The moment you tell people about your goals, they begin measuring your progress. They start questioning your choices. They begin forming opinions about how fast you should be moving, what direction you should take, and whether or not you are succeeding. Even if you are doing well, their expectations create pressure. Pressure to meet deadlines that are not your own. Pressure to prove something before you are ready. Pressure to move at a pace that does not align with your personal growth. But when you keep your journey private, you eliminate this burden. You move at your own speed. You allow yourself the freedom to change direction without explanation. You give yourself space to make mistakes, to learn, to adjust, and to grow without feeling like the world is watching and waiting for an update. The greatest leaders, creators, and visionaries in history did not spend their time explaining themselves to everyone. They focused on their craft. They built their empires quietly. They let their work, their results, and their impact speak for them. They understood that not everything needs to be shared, that some things are more powerful when kept in motion rather than put on display. When you embrace this mindset, you shift your focus from impressing people to improving yourself. You stop worrying about what others think and start prioritizing what truly matters. Your growth, your vision, your purpose. The world does not need to know your every step. It does not need to anticipate your next move. It does not need to have access to your mind before you have even taken action. What it needs is to see what you have built, what you have become, what you have achieved, not because you announced it, but because you made it